Welcome to KRA's The Hub, the official podcast of KRA Corporation. And now get ready to hear workforce topics and trends you need to know on the go.
This is Jonathan Overall with KRA's The Hub podcast. Welcome to today's episode. I'm here in Monterey, California at the California Workforce Association, also known as CWA, Meeting of the Minds Workforce Conference. And I'm joined today by Latoya Reed-Adjei. She is the Deputy Director of the Alameda County Workforce Development Board. Latoya, it's great to see you here at the conference and welcome to KRA's The Hub.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me as well.
Definitely. We've worked together in the past and we're here at the conference. It's 2025. There's a lot happening, a lot of uncertainty in the economy. And this year's theme is something that I do want to jump into and get your insights about. But tell us about your role and what's unique about Alameda County.
Absolutely. So, my role, I'm the Assistant Director at the Alameda County Workforce Development Board. So I have a role around operations. Under WIOA, we're, as workforce boards, responsible for establishing a system of services that job seekers have access to career services that help them to get a leg up in the labor market, as well as servicing businesses and making sure that, the talent that they need, we find a way to make sure that they have access to that talent. So really kind of taking the employer lead on what's needed and forging those connections to our career centers and our youth programs to make sure that those individuals have sustainable paths to good jobs. And so I supervise a team of 6, and my team is responsible for overseeing contracts development, procurements, which means that I have a role in overseeing that as well, helping our providers stay in compliance with the WIOA regulations while also fostering creativity. So there's a nice balance that we strike every day, trying to make sure that compliance doesn't overshadow the needs of our community. So it's really a great role. I'm happy to be there and doing the great work of serving the community. I love Alameda County, and what makes it really special is that it's a very diverse place. I mean, from the businesses, to the people, to the institutions, Alameda County is a great place to live and work.
That's right. That's where I live as well. And some of the work that we've done together with KRA and the Alameda County Workforce Development Board several years ago. Now, at this you mentioned creativity, and that's part of what you do as a leader within the organization. And conferences like this are really great because there are a lot of great general sessions and workshops that are here to inspire leaders. This year's theme is Fearless Forward. And I want to talk to you and ask you the question, what does that mean to you, being a fearless forward leader in workforce development?
Absolutely. And I love the theme of this conference because we are definitely in uncertain times. We've seen many executive orders come out. We've seen our programs and human services be decimated. We know that the big, beautiful bill will shift some of the responsibilities to the social services programs, and we're housed within a social services agency. Even though that's the case, we have to be fearless in our approach. We know that change is happening, change is inevitable. The disruption of COVID probably helped to prepare us for that, right? So we're in times where we have to be agile. We have to be able to transform our systems, even if we're not sure what's on the other side. And so for me, that means making sure that, I'm really digesting those executive orders around apprenticeship, AI readiness, and literacy, and helping my team understand the importance of it. So I lead in a way that helps us to think about the future, even if it may be uncertain. And that's what's really great about the theme of this conference is it speaks to what a lot of us leaders are thinking about. How do we move forward despite, not knowing what's on the other side or uncertainty, still with confidence, and being as informed as we can, because information helps to really kind of build our knowledge base so that we can weather the storm a little bit better.
That's a really great point, the uncertainty of the times. And I feel that a lot of the workshop titles have been inspired by that, speaking clarity to that uncertainty. The general sessions today, there was a general session where they talked about the recent congressional measure on the budget for next year that would actually reduce adult funding and youth funding. So there are a lot of things. Again, it's not set in stone, but it doesn't look good or promising for the industry. But this is where we get inspired. This is where we can encourage one another. Thus far, in your experience at the conference, what have been some of the highlights or topics that you've walked away with thus far?
Absolutely. So I thought Dr. Mike Fleming, who did the opening plenary session, was excellent. He really talked about, redefining the goal, looking differently at our success measures and moving the needle if we need to, not being static in our approach. And he talked about the power of framing and using positive affirmations. We can manifest the future that we want through our language. And so it's really important for me, what I do is I take back all the notes. I do real time digital note taking right on my phone so that I can get the information out to my team. And, I put it on the agenda and talk to the team about what is it that came out. And any of the other staff members that are here as well, I'll prompt them to share. And so that we are, even if everyone wasn't able to make it, we're able to collectively learn about these, inspirational nuggets here at the conference. I also attended a workshop around social capital and, the distinction between bonding capital and social capital. So the bonding capital being the type of capital we have when we engage in a similar experience with someone else. And a lot of folks have bonding capital, but social capital helps to unlock that next level, bringing people into spaces that they wouldn't otherwise have access to, and helps people kind of unlock, access to people from different social social economic status rungs. I thought that was interesting because I always kind of knew what social capital was, but the bonding capital and how that is distinct from social capital is really interesting. And one of the goals is to make sure that we're helping our job seekers build the social capital. So if AI kind of creates barriers to accessing jobs because people get screened out by their ethnic sounding names or what have you,
Mm.
social capital can fill the gap. And so I thought that was really transformational and inspiring, delivered by Sorby of Climb Higher, who we're also working with to stand up our certified medical assistant training pilot. So that's going to be a really great pilot program that we're looking forward to. And social capital is really going to be a sustaining feature of that program. So I'm enjoying myself. We heard from some business leaders as well. In that panel, what was really clear is that we have to make sure that we're moving forward, that we can't be afraid to forge new partnerships and new collaborations and think outside the box. So all around, I'm having a great time here. I'm learning so much new concepts, running into people that I haven't seen in a while, including you, Jonathan. It's been great to see you and talk with you. So yeah, it's been a very inspirational conference so far.
One of the conversations we had as well, we were talking about businesses and the relationship that we have. And you use a key term that is near and dear to my heart of moving beyond the transactional relationships. And I know you guys are doing some work there strategically in that area. Talk to me a little bit about that effort and your approach to really taking a new take on that relationship with them.
Absolutely, yes. When WIO was reauthorized back in 2014, and California had the California WIO, which gave us a whole year, and so that was implemented in 2015, it was pretty clear that we were in a job, or supposed to be developing a job-driven system, where we are moving away from mere transactions with employers and really deepening that relationship so we can lead to transformational outcomes. Um, and what that really means as well is redefining how we add value and vice versa, so that it's a relationship that is symbiotic, that is reciprocal, that the employer walks away with the resources that they need, and we also as well. And so, as we talk about transformational employer engagement and business relationships, it's important for us to understand that our employers are our collaborators. I would say that, yes, they are a customer in some ways, but really we're talking about collaborative energies between employers and workforce boards and other workforce systems leaders to make sure that we're landing on transformational change that really helps to disrupt past and antiquated activities or approaches. And so for me, how we're doing this in Alameda County is our board, I've in some ways, a lot of ways, directed staff to kind of work towards a business engagement plan. We didn't have one before. And so we put this together. It's going to be a roadmap for how we serve businesses. It's been board approved, our local board. And within the business engagement plan, we're going to have panels. We're going to be able to talk to employers. I have a new business services manager who's overseeing the business services unit, and together we're working collaboratively to make sure that we have a transformational kind of relationship with employers, because that's really, I think, where we're going to see innovation in business services.
That's great. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that. I'm sure with that approach, you guys will probably be presenting at some point those outcomes. But want to thank you, Latoya, for joining us here in the hub, and excited again to hear about what you guys are doing strategically. I know that you've been involved as well, policy level, with the state of California, and there's some things that are moving in that direction. I know some of those things are up and coming, but do you have any insights to share on that process as well, of how, it takes being an advocate for change within the system from the local level to the state level as well?
Absolutely. That's a great segue in terms of how we're working with our employers in a different way. So, Senate Bill 617 is legislation that started off as a bill proposal or a bill idea in a simple one on one conversation that I was having with my rapid response coordinator. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't cancel my one on one meetings. They're very serious. It's intentional time that I spend with staff to really talk through issues. My rapid response coordinator was having some issues in connecting with employers around the worker adjustment retraining notification process. In that process, employers with 75 workers or more are required to give a 60-day notice to the worker, the elected local official, the Workforce Development Board, and the mayor. The letter comes through and it gives us critical information such as how many people are impacted, if they have bumping or labor related rights or protections, and the number of and the type of jobs that will be laid off. And so, one of the things that this also does is, it gives a signal that, the layoff is happening. It gives us an opportunity to deploy resources and generally get the rapid response orientation off the ground to make sure that workers have access to the information, which is really critical because during this time of layoff, you can imagine it's a hardship. People are trying to figure out what's next. If they don't have a nice pension plan, how are they going to navigate this really tough time in their lives? And so the rapid response orientation really serves as an avenue to get the information out that people need to transition and move forward. What we saw in our area was that while many employers were actually really compliant with the WARN process, some were not. And so upon learning that, my rapid response coordinator was really trying to connect with employers and some employers were not. Most people were compliant. It prompted, conversation. And what I did is I looked whereabouts in the agency where we had a platform to share these ideas. And I worked closely with our Policy Strategy Innovation Office, which is our policy office, and I brought forth a legislative idea. I put together the bill analysis. Once that was in the hands of the policy director, she took that and massaged it into a template that could then be shared for the Board of Supervisors. They have a personnel, administrative, and legislative committee. So once that was taken before that committee, the Board of Supervisors in Alameda County actually signed off on that and approved it. That gave the policy director a green light to work with its lobbyist team. And we have a lobbyist team connected to our agency. That lobbyist team, I've been working, and we started to work together collaboratively and found the interest of Senator Jesse Argwin, who formerly served Berkeley City Council. Once we found that we had an author for the bill, it was so exciting, to see that a simple one-on-one conversation led to this change. And so we are really excited. Senate Bill 617 is moving along swimmingly. My rapid response coordinator and I, Javier Contreras, were able to travel up to Sacramento and testify before the Labor Committee on the Senate side. And we were prepared to do so for the Assembly. And the bill was on consent, which is really good news. since then has been read 3 times by the Senate. And so it's actually moving along pretty well. Anytime soon, it'll probably be going to the governor's desk for signature or for consideration, I should say. But we're crossing our fingers that it would be signed into law, and we would have brought some transparency to that process and make sure that we're working together. Like I said before, this is one of those transformational pieces where we're not just transacting. We really want to be collaborative partners with employers, and I believe that Senate Bill 617 will help us do that.
Well, having done that work as a business services rapid response coordinator, I know the impact of those services. And so I'm excited to see the impact of that bill moving forward and seeing that change happen. And a perfect example of what it takes to advocate for our customers on both sides. Well, Latoya, again, I want to thank you for joining us here at the Hub, and enjoy the rest of your conference here and safe travels back to Alameda County.
All right. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure to be here this afternoon, and I just look forward to many more inspirational points during the conference. And thanks for having me again.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to KRA's The Hub. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. To learn more about KRA Corporation, visit www.kra.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll be back soon with a new episode.